Welcome to Urban Legends with your hosts, Smartwatch, Neil and Chris, and Google Speaker.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Urban Legends, the long-running now full series podcast about urban legends, myths, UFOs, monsters, water sprites, all kinds of bollocks, really. I am Erotic Baker, Chris Flynn, and with me, as always, is camping enthusiast, Mr.
Neil Herbert.
Hi, Neil. How's your week been?
It's been okay, actually, yeah.
Yeah, been out camping?
Yeah, been some hilarious shenanigans ensued.
Really? What
Well, I was just unfolding an umbrella. I was finding it out from, near behind me, and I had the light on in the tent, and then from outside the tent, it looks like, you can imagine.
Oh, I can imagine. Oh.
You got a bit spooked. I had to go out and reassure them.
Oh, so you go to campsites, you don't go like wild camping?
I go wild camping in
pub car park.
Yeah. Supermarket car parks, car parks. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I like a nice firm mattress normally. So a nice firm kind of like I don't know if you remember once went on a campsite in Greece.
I do. Yeah,
a nice firm layer there.
Nice firm. Yeah, just sleeping on.
It does wear on the pegs a little bit, but
yeah, but pegs meaning back. What kind of tent you rocking at the moment? Something flash like a Pegasus 497, something like that.
Oh no, it's the upgraded Pegasus 2225.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. That's a six-man tent, isn't it? With a
six-person tent with the additional foyer.
With a nice
and obviously
foyer.
The side flaps,
Got to have the side flaps.
Yeah.
Keep the air in and out at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a revolutionary new 3 dry weave.
What kind of stove you got?
Little Eddie coal grinder.
Little Eddie.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people.
So a lot of people think bigger is better, but actually that puts out a lot of heat. I can grill 3 steaks on that.
Oh, lovely!
Not taking up a lot of room either. So
well, that's where the little part comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has it got like a little face on it, like a Henry?
Yeah, it looks like a Henry VIII, but it's it's like a screaming caloric face.
Lovely.
I'm not sure why it's called a Little Eddie. It looks like a. There we
go.
Life's little mystery, isn't it?
Well, isn't life better for those mysteries now?
Exactly. Yeah.
Than any other kind of.
Can't know all the answers, or then it'd just be boring, wouldn't it?
What kind of Swiss Army knife you got?
I've got the Victrola 55,000.
Nice.
It's got a 16-piece dinner.
Yeah, it's got soup spoon.
It's got chainsaw.
Yeah, got melon baller.
Yeah, eyelash plucker,
nail file.
Yeah,
you can do your pedicures while you're out.
Walk-in wardrobe, and you can also
and a small TV.
And yeah.
Okay,
It's quite a lot. It's quite a big. It's not exactly pocket size, but I find it's got the right number of tools for the job for me.
Nice. Is there any, as a camping enthusiast, is there any piece of equipment that you would like to recommend to the listeners?
That's an interesting one. Well, do you know what? I can guarantee enough. A good sturdy toilet. If you're anything like me,
Just sturdy chemical toilet.
Yeah.
Stick that in the back.
Take care of anything. It's something you could literally just lose a body in, and that's
you could dissolve a Christmas cake.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, very good. I'm sure the listeners have found that useful.
I'd skin off my nose if they didn't, to be honest with you.
Care less.
Yeah. So, erotic bakery, is that?
Yeah.
Are you kind of like baking in an erotic environment, or are you baking erotic things, or a mixture of the two?
Well, it's a mixture of three things.
Okay.
It's an erotic environment.
Like a terrible Kinder Egg.
Like a terrible Kinder Egg with no treat.
Yeah.
So it's an erotic environment.
So very much like a Kinder Egg then.
Very much like a Kinder Egg. Erotic environment.
Yeah.
The stuff that I'm baking is in erotic shapes.
Yeah.
And I do it erotically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I get a lot.
Your genitals aren't engaging with the patisserie.
With the batter. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, I wear. Do you remember the band Cameo?
Yes.
Yeah, I wear one
of those thongs. Have you?
One of those posing pouches.
Yeah.
And
I get little else, presumably.
Just that and a pinny.
Yeah.
I get a lot of hen do's and stag do's that come in. You know, it's kind of a nice day out for them. They have like a glass of bubbly and watch me cook, and then they eat cakes shaped like penises afterwards.
Okay. They filled with a lot of cream.
Oh, so much cream, so much cream.
That occasions some raucous giggling, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yes, you know, and I'll pipe some cream into their mouths if they want that. I mean, but you know, it's dealer's choice, really. I'll do kind of whatever I need to do to get, you know,
get paid,
get a few bucks.
And what's particularly erotic about the environment that you're in, other than you obviously charging it up?
I've stuck a load of crude posters on the wall.
Oh, right, so like a men's locker room then.
Very much like a men's locker room, yeah.
I feel like it wouldn't go down too well with the hen parties, but maybe it fits the vibe, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not just women on the wall. I mean, it's kind of like...
It's like they've walked in on you when you're in a private saucy bakery, and then
It's like I'm doing it in a garage, basically, you know, like a car mechanics, something like that. Yeah, like...
It's like they went into the secret mail world, and then they sort of make
I have like that Athena...
Be the private dancer.
I have like that Athena poster of the topless man holding a baby and that kind of stuff from the 90s.
Nice.
Got like Cindy Crawford, Chris Hemsworth. You know, I've got all of the people up there.
Catering to all tastes, then.
Catering to all tastes, yeah.
Oh, why not?
Why not, eh? So that's the end of that section. Enough
for that, as we say.
So this week, Neil, how do you feel about large people?
Are we talking like tallness or girth here?
Tallness.
Tallness. Yeah, fine. You know.
Yeah,
can be a hard world if you're too tall. The world is not designed for you know.
Well, we're both quite tall, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, you're what, 6'3"? I'm sort of something like that.
I'm 6'4".
Yeah, so I'm sort of 6'1.5", 6'2", something like that. So yeah, you know, leg rooms at a premium, I find these days.
Yeah, plane flights are terrible.
Yeah, well, always were, but yeah.
But they kind of made it even worse. But I just, do you know what? Like the little treat I give myself is I pay for the extra legroom seat because, do you know what? I think I'm worth it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's always good. Well, quite often as well, if you know, above a certain height or whatever, then they'll
rather than getting deep vein thrombosis.
Yeah, no, that's always good. But sometimes as well, they'll put you on the kind of like, what do they call it? There's one aisle, I think, where they have the emergency doors that give you a bit of legroom as well. Sometimes you get that, which is good.
Well, they know that you have to always pay extra for that now.
Oh, okay. Okay. See, I've not been on the plane for a few years now, but a couple of times I got offered that for free. Because I was kind of like, oh, are you trying to charge me extra? And they're just, no, to be honest, you just look like you'd be a bit more of a hassle for people to get past. So we'll stick you there for free, mate.
So, Neil, what I would say is we're both quite tall, but are we 13 feet tall? Because today we are talking about the giant of Kandahar.
Oh.
Who is a giant, apparently, who was engaged in battle with US forces in Afghanistan.
Wow. So is this a human being, allegedly?
It's a giant.
It's a giant something. Well, it might not be. If it's a giraffe, it's anything. Sure.
No, it's humanoid.
Humanoid. Okay, fair enough.
So
it's quite large for a person.
Yeah, I mean, it's
person-like thing.
I don't. That really tall guy is in the Guinness Book of Records. I don't think he was even that tall.
Nowhere near. No, I'm.
It's about 9 foot or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Pipsqueak. The source which I'm going to go from to start with is the Military Times.
Oh, okay.
But unsurprisingly, they are taking quite a sceptical view on it. But it's the longest article I could find, so that's the one I'm going for.
You better go out. Trying to eke out at least 50 minutes out of this.
And so this was written by Jeff Zizulowicz and John Simpkins on Tuesday, November the 1st.
2 J's.
Doesn't say the year. Okay, you ready to go?
Let's do it. Let's dive in. Kandahar bound.
Here we go. So, like any military campaign, those who fought in the Afghanistan war hold memories, both shared and personal.
Tell me about it.
But on this Halloween, we want to draw your attention to more otherworldly concerns. We speak, of course, of the giants of Afghanistan, creatures from times past and parts unknown who were purportedly spotted outside the US garrison once upon a time. So they're doing this as a kind of Halloween thing.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Encounters with these beings, which some outlets claim to have occurred during the service members' deployment to Afghanistan, were recently recapped on the Havoc Journal blog, a website dedicated to veterans' news and issues. The accounts below originally appeared on Tales from the Grid Square, a collection of military encounters with the supernatural, penned by author Nick Orton. During the war, many members of the US military and coalition would encounter activities which would defy normality, Orton wrote on the Havoc Journal. I'm not going to do a voice because I'm respecting his service.
Yeah, probably as well. Hard enough, don't they all do?
And that's really difficult for me because you know me likes my
you
voice.
You do like a voice, yeah.
I like my voices.
Yeah.
Okay. UFOs, cryptids and ghosts. Many bore witness to immense and immeasurable mystery of Afghanistan. What they witness is often kept close to the heart, be it terrifying or truly something incredible. Chief among those terrifying encounters was an incident in 2002 with a giant of Kandahar.
Ooh. I mean, you think you wouldn't, as I understand.
Strange things in the desert, Neil.
Well, there's enough, fighting in Afghanistan, there's enough kind of like hardship and horrors already, and having to, find ones with hominid entities. So
deal with this kind of shit.
Interesting.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
So
if it bleeds, we can kill it, Chris. Remember that.
I always remember that. You taught me that.
Yeah.
Do you remember when
for the book Predator?
When we used to work together in that office. Yes,
it was a very normal office. It was perfectly legal.
So, the giant of Kandahar, a biblical cryptid creature that special forces stumbled upon as the giant was doing giant things like cooking giant food and minding his giant business. See, they've got a playful tone.
It's not that's good. It's not a serious set of assertions. Fair enough. They could have gone further, playing with giant Lego bricks and watching giant TV.
Yeah, stroking his giant cat.
Yeah.
He had a lion as a cat. So, according to online accounts, the giant of Kandahar, who was said to be responsible for an entire patrol going missing, stood a towering 13 feet tall. It sported a shock of flaming red hair, had 6 fingers on each hand and 2 rows of teeth for gnashing, thrashing, and showcasing a smile that was undeniably dashing. So I'm not enjoying the tone of this, but I'm just reading it verbatim. It's a bit too light-hearted for me. This sounds serious.
Well, God forbid anything on this podcast should be light-hearted. We like something a bit more serious and pompous, and then we can sort of because there's a real danger that this will actually be a lot funnier than anything we can come up with. So
yeah, I mean, don't put any effort in, and you're going to do that.
Yeah, so we're really on thin ice here.
But what I will say is this does have quite a lot of kind of quotes from this blog site and stuff of encounters and stuff, so it's kind of worth getting through this bit.
I mean, it sounds like they're not taking it terribly seriously, but hey. I believe this is a known thing, Crystal. You say you've assured me.
Yeah, so upon contact, the giant purportedly killed one US service member with a spear, only to be vanquished by the rest of the unit courtesy of 30 seconds of sustained gunfire, according to an account on allthat'sinteresting.com. As the story... Yeah.
Okay.
As the story goes, the soldiers loaded the giant's corpse onto a helicopter and it was never seen again.
Well, you don't want stories like that getting out.
Well,
health and morale, wouldn't it?
Well, you'd imagine that they're trying to reverse engineer it to make super soldiers.
That's also a possibility.
Conspiracy theorists promoting the story prompted the fact-checking outlet Snopes to investigate in 2016. To the surprise of none, bewildered Pentagon officials told Snopes they had no record of such an incident, which is exactly what they would
That's
say.
what they want you to believe, yeah.
So,
I reckon Rumsfeld was breeding them in a basement somewhere. He's left some giants onto.
I reckon it was.
It backfired.
I reckon it was Clinton's illegitimate son.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon. Predictably proud wearers of the world's
probably
largest...
relates to Hunter Biden, isn't it?
Probably.
Yeah. I presume he's like...
Six fingers, two sets of teeth.
Yeah.
Predictably proud wearers of the world's largest tinfoil hats responded along the lines of, that's exactly what someone hiding a 13-foot-tall body would say. Nevertheless, the supernatural tale achieved a modicum of mainstream attention when it was featured on the Coast to Coast AM radio show hosted by the late, great Art Bell. There are many...
Who you are, sir? Apologies.
There are many accounts of soldiers who have reported seeing massive humanoids that tower over the normal men in Afghanistan, Orton continued. These stories are out there, albeit hard to come by. Not many are going to come forward and claim they saw a massive man running around the mountains of Afghanistan, but perhaps there is something truly massive out there.
Maybe it's just two tall guys in like an overcoat.
trying to scare off the
like
American soldiers.
Act, yeah. Well, you did try anything, wouldn't you? Mm. Just one of many guerrilla tactics. One of the less successful. You've got to try, yeah.
Psyops.
The Afghan Psyops department, yeah.
Hey, get on his shoulders. In his post, Orton shares 7 other gigantic tales he allegedly collected from military members. They include the giant of Kandahar, a massive being an infantry team leader reportedly saw during a deployment between 2008 and 2000. Oh, sorry, the giant of Kunar. The giant
of one of these, then.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Giant of Kunar. Massive being an infantry team leader reportedly saw during a deployment between 2008 and 2009. While overlooking a village one fateful night, the soldier peered through his newly mounted thermal scope. As he spanned the valley, he came across a very large heat signature. He assumed it was a group of Taliban fighters huddled together around
on each other's shoulders.
Yeah.
What are they going to be up to now?
The Taliban gymnastics team.
Yeah.
The cheerleaders, maybe. Do they like to... I mean, I don't know much about it, but I'm sure that the Taliban really love cheerleaders.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're fun guys, aren't they? They have a bit of jollity, jollity into the world, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Bit dancing.
Yeah, bit of fun guy, yeah?
Hey, come on, guy. Calm down, pussycat.
What's going to hurt, eh?
Hey, come on, have a laugh. Hey, turn that frown upside down, my friend.
Oh, you can't have a bit of fun.
Hey, come on, we're in the desert. It's cold. It's boring. What are we going to do, look at mountains? No. Let's have a little dancey booze. So all of a sudden, the heat signature stood up as one being. The soldier recalled...
Wasn't expecting that.
Was not. The soldier recalled in Orton's post, the trees in the area grew up to about 10 or 12 feet tall, and this thing was at least as tall, if not taller, than the trees that surrounded it.
Well, that could be 13 feet.
That could be 13 feet tall. I mean, you would... I wonder how many NBA scouts are out there now kind of risking their necks into Afghanistan.
They're just looking for giants.
Yeah, trying to get like a new centre for the Bulls.
Oh, yeah, if you could teach them basketball, that would be, yeah.
You're 13 feet tall, you're taller than
3-pointers all day long.
Why would you get them to do 3-pointers if they're 13 feet tall?
It's worth more than 2 points, isn't it?
I know, but I mean, surely.
No, yeah, you probably just run up and just drop it in when you. Well, I don't know, because from that distance, well, yeah, I suppose there is a bit more aiming, isn't there? So, yeah, this would be
a bit more aiming than just dropping it
in. Well, yeah, all right. Is
this why you were sacked as head scout for the Denver Nuggets?
Well, yeah, I convinced them that I was. Yeah, my data analysis was going to be the thing that turns
Moneyball.
Yeah. It was more money bullshit in my case, but yeah, no, it's just my two things were just going for 3-pointers constantly and trying to find somebody who was 13 feet tall and carve up both counts.
And you're going to get him to be a 3-pointer.
Yeah. Guy. So this would be very much the version of like Route 1 football, wouldn't it? He'd be like just get it to the big man up top.
Yeah, to the big lad. Yeah.
Yeah. No, stop defending. Just get it to the big lad.
Yeah, just front. chuck it as just chuck
hard
it
at the big lad up front. He'll take care.
He'll catch it. No one can get it, and then
beautiful.
We just drop it. I mean, if he's that tall, then the net would be around tit height for him. Yeah. So easy, isn't it? You would imagine
he's off the other end, just plucking him out of the net the other side. Yeah. To be honest with you, he doesn't really need any teammates at that point, does he?
No, not at all. Well, yeah,
because he can't dribble. Chris.
Can't dribble properly. No,
too tall for that.
Got 6 fingers.
He's got to pull it out, pass it on to one of his teammates. Then they got to dribble it across, lump it up.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be very effective strategy, but it'd be a very boring game just watching like one 13-foot guy stacking it from one end to the other.
It would
catching him out, passing to his teammates, and then someone just lumps it up to him.
The one thing which is
undeniably successful, though.
One thing that's good about basketball is it is quite a spectacular sport with all the slam dunking and like the quick dribbling and all that kind of stuff. Like it's quite a spectacle. Of the American sports, I could probably go to a basketball match and enjoy it.
Yeah, I've never really probably sat because I've sort of watched a little bit of it because you don't like the slam dunks and stuff because it's quite fast paced. I mean, it's the thing that really struck me is it's really, really like fast scoring. But I haven't seen lots and lots of slam dunks and stuff in clips that I've seen because I imagine that like you'd have to have quite a lot of room because you're basically showing off at that point, aren't you? But if you show off too much, I assume like defenders are going to get in and smash.
Yeah, but it's like
you've got to be quite confident. Do you know what I mean? You need enough space.
It's not like slam dunk. But I mean, when it happens, it's like
it's like a real.
It'll happen a few times a match.
Oh, okay. So it does happen like in most matches.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I was kind of getting at. I didn't know whether it was like really kind of rare or kind of
Well, if you've got the space and you can get above the rim, then it's the safest way to score, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose it's the thing, isn't it? It's being able to run in and get the space. Because I've seen it's usually this is basketball talk by someone who doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's normally when you're on the counter attack.
Yeah. That's the thing I do find is it usually there's a lot of kind of like very fast paced and it's just getting it in.
And so
I would recommend go for the 3 points because it's one more.
And that's two English people talking about basketball, everyone.
Well, any American people just like howling in fury at that, especially from me. But okay, here they go.
Okay, so the giant stride was slow and relaxed, yet it moved with an incredible speed. Well, that's just having a long gait, isn't it?
It takes a while to speed up, doesn't he? Once he gets going, though.
Oh, it's like freight train.
I mean, he's not going to be an Usain Bolt, but I'll tell you what, it's 10,000 metres. You're going to struggle to get past him. I think he'd be a multi-threat in any sports competitions. To be honest with you, Chris.
Really?
Swimming as well. Well, yeah. I mean,
so you're maybe
going to have long reach, isn't he? So he's going to be whizzing.
Maybe not something like baseball or cricket, where you've got to have hand-eye coordination.
Could be a fierce fast bowler potentially, but maybe not as accurate. Who knows?
He'd be good at the physical sports.
Yeah.
So the giant stride was slow and relaxed, yet it moved with incredible speed. The soldier added, noting the giant's chill yet purposeful vibe. It walked parallel to the soldier's position for a time before disappearing along a nearby spur.
I mean, the one thing is, it's like, if you're running into like heavily armed people all the time, I mean, because presumably he's not bulletproof. We know from this one encounter.
Yeah, but I had to sustain fire at him for 30 seconds to get him down.
Well, so then he must have like, hard skin or something. Because just because you're 13 foot tall, that's not going to make you any less susceptible to bullets. Is it?
He might have really, really sinewy, tight muscles, like a chimp.
Well, certainly, if he can withstand a hail of bullets.
So stories of the encounter were not shared with many, the soldier reportedly said, but memories of what he'd seen came flooding back after listening to Coast Dispatch. I think that's what I saw, a member of an ancient race of giants that descended from fallen angels, he wrote, obviously.
Yeah. Now that you mention it.
Or it could be something like Sasquatch, I'm not sure. One or the other. Fallen angel, Bigfoot.
Yeah. Well, how do we know those two things are mutually exclusive?
Is Bigfoot a fallen angel? Is that what we're saying?
Well, why is it so hard to capture evidence of him?
Well, that's it. And we know God likes them hairy.
Well, he does. He certainly does. You read read your Bible, you know this. And well, listen, you can see more and more of the Sasquatch coming out because of the way that we're treating nature.
Well, unless that just pushes him even further.
Well, yeah. Or do you reckon it push him further away? And he'll just appear in the sky one day when we've really fucked it. And it's like, I told you. But now it's too late. As we're all clinging to
whatever.
Life rafts or whatever, in
our screens.
Yeah.
So Orton also included a story of an anonymous Air Force drone operator who was working in the northern part of Afghanistan during the war. Scanning around, doing my thing and looking for stuff, he recalled. One day, the drone operator spotted three...
There's an orphanage. That looks like a legitimate target. At least.
I think I saw someone run in there.
There's a 20% chance of a terrorist in there. Fuck it. Your drones aren't going to launch themselves.
Well, they've got out to be terrorists.
5 o'clock, time to go home. I mean, everyone's done something if you really want to get into it. That's what we want, moral relativism in a drone operator, isn't it?
My Xbox controller is running out of battery.
A real lack of willingness to do overtime.
I'm clocking off.
Yeah.
So one day, the drone operator spotted 3 giants, each standing roughly 12 feet tall. Oh, having a little meeting. There's a ruler tool that tells you how wide your crosshair is, and the people were as tall as the crosshair was wide, the operator said. This was all in mid-wave infrared at night, so they showed up as black humanoid heat signatures.
So they're doing a lot of rocking about at night. I mean, it sounds like they're doing a lot of raving to me.
That's it. Massive ravers.
They're all off their heads on.
They've been listening to Armand Van Helden or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Just come up with a cheeky little group. They've all sort of like, under the desert or in a cave or something, just like doing some production. And still all get together.
They found...
Share the tunes.
Sticking it on SoundCloud.
Absolutely, just fucking loving it at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, got Ableton Live rock him. Yeah. Managed to get a cracked version of that.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Oh, listen to this. Oh, that's fucking sweet.
Oh, that's sweet. What 808 are you using?
Oh, I love that bass drop.
Oh, you got the synth package. Brilliant. It's got to sound well 80s. It's got to be amazing, mate. I mean, as you know, giants all prefer 2-step garage to house music.
Yes.
Don't they? Famously.
Yeah, big fans of Craig David.
Yeah, Fats and Small.
Yeah, I can't remember any of the other.
I can't remember any other 2-step garage.
No. I mean, it was quite prominent in the mid-90s, wasn't it? But a lot of it didn't stick in my head.
It was all right.
Artful Dodger, was that another name?
Artful Dodger, yeah. What I quite liked with 2-step garage is they did a lot of remixes of hip-hop songs.
Okay.
So that was quite good in clubs when I used to go to clubs.
Yeah, whenever it's like there's a scene where every beat was exactly the same in two-step, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Makes it very easy to do DJing. I'll tell you that much. Even I could beat match that shit.
That's true. Yeah.
So, for 10 minutes, the operator observed them, during which time he reported the giants tended their fire and performed other chores. Oh, sound all right, don't they?
Yeah, just going about their business.
Bit of hoovering.
This is going to end up with them getting a drone launched at them.
The only interesting thing was the size, the operator wrote. The goats looked like cats next to them. Oh, so they're 10 goats as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they sound all right so far.
Is he sure he didn't fall asleep reading about sort of Greek mythology or something?
It sounds like he might well have.
Yeah. Was it Cyclops would need 10 goats or something? They might have been giant goats, I don't know.
Sheep, Cyclops.
Was it sheep? Yeah, fair
enough. Another airman recalls doing a pre-op soak northeast of Kandahar Valley, where he scanned and analysed real-time video feeds. According to his elaborate account, the airman watched some dudes around a fire.
Dude.
Oh no! There's some dudes around a fire to see if he could identify any weapons. After about 20 minutes, what we thought were two dudes.
Maybe they are dudes. How do you know not dudes just because they're tall?
Yeah, it could be dudettes.
I've never knew a guy who was 7 foot, but chill, man. It just doesn't happen.
It could be dudettes, man. What we thought were two dudes.
Like, I don't know why. They were 6'8", man. You can't chill out.
Huddled together.
You're judging, bro, just the way it is.
This is quite sweet. So
right.
the two dudes were huddled together under a blanket. And then they stood up. The airman wrote, "This guy made the rest of the dudes look like children in terms of height. He stood up and walked over to a mud hut that he had to bend way over to get in." So is he hanging around with normal people? Is that what it's saying?
See, I don't know, because if it's his own hut, wouldn't he? You'd build one to your own size, wouldn't you? Although maybe you don't want to stand out.
Yeah. So a lot of persecution.
Because I imagine, sadly, they probably get tormented. It's just just getting a whole bunch of Afghanistan people who happen to be very, very tall for some reason, but they have to go off and find their own way.
Finally, an Australian army officer who was on sentry duty in the country's...
Oh, mate!
Oh, no! He's fucking massive!
Look at the size of that one!
Bloody hell! I thought it was a yowie!
We've clearly not learned our lesson from the whatever the Cole Valach episode or whatever it was.
Finally, the Australian army officer who was on sentry duty in the country's Uruzgan province recalled spotting a giant going for a leisurely stroll around a nearby compound. It was lanky and wore unusual clothing, he said. By lasing the compound, the officer estimated the giant to be about 1,800 metres away. It wasn't in any hurry, and I followed it for around 5 minutes before it went out of my field of vision, the officer recalled, adding that he suspected the giant to be about 12 or 14 feet tall. It just looked like it was walking, he wrote on Orton's post. It wasn't in a hurry at all, but it was aware of what was happening around it. I kept looking around, especially near the compounds. I don't know if anyone else saw anything like it. I never told anyone about it before, but it stayed with me all these years. So, what are you thinking so far, Neil?
I mean, they don't seem to be up to any harm, other than, we've had one attack, but then they came in tooled up. I mean, who knows? Maybe they were getting a bit feisty, and, it's only got a spear. But yeah, the rest of them just seem to be going about their business. I don't,
Yeah. But they don't seem to be partisan in the war, do they?
Well, no. Maybe they want to stick out of it.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
Pacifists. So I'm going to now read from allthat'sinteresting.com because that was a cited article.
I mean, it's got to be interesting with that title, so that would be a way to go.
And it's by Bernadette Giacomazzo.
Yeah.
And it's the mythical Kandahar giant, the biblical cryptid allegedly killed by US Special Forces in Afghanistan. I'll try not to...
And the biblical bit as well, so this is was it the fallen angels? Okay.
We're going to have a look at that.
Yeah.
So in August 2016, a YouTuber posted a lengthy interview with a military contractor identified only as Mr. K. In the interview, Mr. K claimed to have been present during the brutal slaughter of a killer he called the Kandahar giant. The killing of the giant, he said, took place during
not an innocent civilian. Absolutely not.
No.
No, giant.
Biblical giant.
You've just sewn three pieces together. This is horrifying. This ill-advised cover-up story.
No, it's a giant guy.
Oh, guy, look.
Look, he's a big guy. What's he got? He's got three belly buttons.
Yeah.
The killing of the giant, he said, took place during the height of Operation Enduring Freedom.
Oh, remember those days?
In 2002, when the military was engaged in fierce battles with the Taliban in their de facto capital in the Kandahar province during the US invasion of Afghanistan. But this was no human fighter.
I'll just point out as well, Chris, that freedom certainly endured for about 10 seconds after they left Afghanistan. Anyway, enough of that.
The Kandahar giant, Mr. K said, was 13 feet tall with fiery red hair, 6 fingers, 2 sets of teeth. It even killed one Special Force soldier with a spear before the rest of the unit brought it down with 30 seconds of sustained gunfire. After they radioed it in, the army took away his corpse and it's been hidden ever since. So...
a sense of deja vu here, Chris.
There is some different stuff, but that's
cool. Yeah.
There's some repeated.
Yeah.
So in 2002...
Hey, the facts are the facts, man. You can only,
Oh, hey, man.
Put a different spin on them, but,
Hey, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Go and write my own script for the podcast? That ain't happening. That ain't happening, son.
Preparation.
That ain't happening, son. In 2002, a group of soldiers went missing while on patrol in a mountain region of Kandahar in South Afghanistan. When they failed to make radio contact for some time, the military sent in Special Ops unit to investigate, though the branch of the armed forces they belonged to was never confirmed. Then high up in the mountain, the unit came across a cave with scattered army equipment around, but no sign of the missing soldiers. And that
Iron Man.
It's probably Iron Man.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, the real life
Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah. And that's when they chanced upon the Kandahar giant. Though the tale grows through telling, with some reports suggest the humanoid grew as tall as 15 feet tall, this red-haired giant with 6 digits had leather moccasins.
Nice.
Very nice. And it smelled like dead bodies.
Not so nice.
Suddenly emerged from the cave and impaled one of the soldiers with a spear. And that's when they opened fire, ultimately felling the giant with the 30 seconds of continuous gunfire.
Well, he's asked for it and he's got it. Went there again.
So between them...
I should have brought a spear to a gunfight. They can't.
You giant prick.
Giant gun.
So between them, the squad was armed with full-auto M4 carbines.
No, beautiful.
Recon carbines, semi-automatic, and M107 Barrett anti-material rifles firing 50 caliber BMG. Reads one report.
Assume that means something to somebody. Fair enough.
I think 50 calibers.
It's like a big bullet, is it?
It's a big bullet, yeah.
Yeah.
Big bullet.
Big bullet for a big lad. Yeah. You
For
go
a
giant
big
hunting,
man.
you bring a 50 cal.
So this much firepower concentrated on one target for 1 second, let alone 30, would be extremely destructive, Neil.
This is what I'm not getting, because, unless they've got some,
Well, I don't.
It's just
I
a
don't
dude
want to
dressed up in leather moccasins. It is what it is,
I don't want to cast aspersions, but I do sometimes feel like maybe they continue after they necessarily have to.
Do you reckon it was just like it was just like that scene from RoboCop? Well, to be fair, it did spear one of their mates, so
Yeah, exactly.
I guess
Make him into a puddle.
He's not innocent himself, unlike the other ones in the story. So yeah.
So after the troops killed the giant, it was loaded into a Chinook, which carried it to a transport plane where no one ever saw it again.
Well, they just sort of poured it into a Pepsi bottle after they'd done by the sound of it.
The soldiers were forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement so the government could keep them all quiet. NDC.
I mean, surely in the army, if you just ordered to never talk about it, that would just be it, wouldn't it? You'd have to sign an NDA, but I don't know. Don't know how these things work.
Well, I guess that
just for the national security reasons, I would have thought you could just be told that you're not allowed to discuss whatever it might be.
But I guess that there's no by adding the NDA, then there's legal ramifications, isn't there? Which there might not be for disobeying an order.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I would have assumed there would be some. It's like you go to some companies, you have to sign the Official Secrets Act or something like that. So even after you've left, you'd still be prosecuted if you disclose things. Do you know what? I'm taking it too seriously. It's why it was the NDA that pushed me over the edge. Yeah, 13-foot guy with a spear.
That's fine. But NDA, oh come on, man! I know basic contract law.
This tedious technical. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
But
that was the one detail that pushed me over the edge.
Eventually, the soldiers broke their silence because, as one of the people would later say, people have a right to know the truth.
No, they don't. You signed an NDA.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Didn't want to. Shouldn't have signed it, could you?
I was ordered to.
No, I'd prefer not to, officer. Oh, someone's going to be getting half rations at the mess. So be it. I've made up my mind.
I need to have a lawyer look over this first. Yeah. I'm not signing it. In August 2016, Snopes reached out to the Department of Defense about the Kandahar giant incident. The Department of Defense told the outlet that in no uncertain terms they had no record or information about a Special Forces member killed by a giant in Kandahar.
And to be fair, if you're that person answering that call, that's got to be.
Oh, God.
Another one of you fucking wankers.
Snopes again.
What do you think is going to happen on this call? Do you really need me to confirm this?
Even if
no
there
unicorns, was. No dragons either. Yeah,
but even if there was, they're not going to say. Do you know what I mean? That's not what the military do. They just go, no. So, what's more, there are no press releases.
You can tell, though, the guy sounded kind of shifty.
Yeah, well.
You hear the line.
No.
Why are you stammering?
No giants.
No giants work in the office here, no.
No, there's no giants at the top of the tree. So what's more, there were no press releases on the Department of Defense website involving either a Special Forces troop disappearing in Afghanistan or any incident involving soldiers felling a giant, which is a surprise. Of course, as with any good conspiracy, the lack of evidence isn't sufficient proof.
Well, it's proof. In fact, it's proof that something did happen. Yeah. I mean, the probability of a squad not coming across a 13-foot person and killing them, astronomical. So why would you deny it?
In fact, Snopes' debunking of the legend had quite the opposite effect in certain cryptid spaces, which claim that the government is trying to hide the truth from the public. Again, not surprising. So, around the same time that the Snopes article came out, discrediting the story, self-proclaimed supernaturalist L.A. Marzulli.
Oh, I can't miss Jim already.
Oh, yeah, he's my hero.
Self-proclaimed. That's the
main thing, isn't it? Told several right-wing websites, that Breitbart and that.
Nice.
The chance.
Can this be both really fictional and Nazi adjacent? It's that sweet spot that's the field we like to plough.
Its government was covering up this spectacular story and that those in power had a vested interest in keeping the truth of the biblical prophecies from being exposed to the general public.
Oh, yeah, I would. You know who runs Hollywood, Chris.
People have a right to know.
You can't say anything these days, but
people have a right to know about this stuff. If there are 15 or 18 footers roaming the earth and our military has brought them down, we have a right as an American citizen to know about it, he said. It's in the Constitution. I mean, this isn't classified military stuff. This is something we need to know. And it all points to the biblical prophetic narratives.
Well, next thing you know, Chris, there's a caravan of illegal immigrant giants coming up through Mexico.
Exactly.
Probably in some cartel. Just God knows what.
Stepping over the wall.
And they could just scale the wall, yeah. They just hop up on each other's shoulders.
If we don't know about it, how are we going to know how big
How are we going to build a wall tall enough?
Exactly, how are we going to know?
You know? Contractors haven't got the right specifications because that was withheld. That's fine. Fine for all of you libtards who don't live on the border towns. We're getting overrun by giants. We're not going to take it anymore. We're going to go and buy another 20.
Going to get
AR-15s or whatever they're called.
So, Neil, would you like to know the biblical origins behind the myth?
I would love to know the biblical origins. Because this is the part where you think they're right when you get involved. Because, you know, if they're biblical origin, they should be on the, you know, they love a bit of chapel. So, you know, fair play to them.
So the real story of the Kandahar giant is a lot less interesting than the myth. In 2016, L.A. Marzulli, whose YouTube channel is dedicated to tying current events to biblical prophecies.
Nice. It's all there. You just got to look for it, Chris.
Like fucking Nostradamus
anything you need just in the Bible. It's all there.
So he brought the story roaring back to life thanks to the power of the internet. In a now deleted...
Thanks, Internet. Yet again, thanks, Internet.
In a now deleted video, first posted on August 16th, 2016, Marzulli interviewed a Mr. K, a man purporting to be a soldier, who said he'd witnessed the giant of Kandahar. Mr. K claimed he saw the giant carrying a spear and murdering a United States soldier named Dan before he and the other special forces took it down. According to Marzulli, the creature was a Nephilim, a group of people mentioned in the Genesis and Numbers book of the Old Testament, who are said to be people of unusually large size and strength that could be found in the Middle East both before and after the flood of Noah's Ark's fame.
Well, because they were quite tall, they were able to sort of like just keep their heads above water.
That's it.
They just went to some slightly high ground, and that's fine.
Yeah, just a little paddles.
Like paddling pool, yeah. Because all the other short asses just drowned.
But biblical scholars
got very efficient. He's, you know, just enough to drown people. You don't need to do more. We've got to show off, you know.
It's got costs.
Yeah,
you know, you've got to
get this
work around the margins,
time and money. Yeah.
So biblical scholars largely agree that Nephilim tales were metaphors, not based on the reality of 13-foot giants living in the desert. What's more, the only Dan that died in Kandahar around this time was an alleged incident in 2002 was Sergeant First Class Daniel A. Romero, who was killed in a bomb blast alongside 3 other soldiers. But even with the evidence stacked against it, the myth of the Kandahar giant is to be an open secret amongst soldiers.
But I've got to say, Chris, you know, if a spear had been thrown from a height of 13 feet, the sheer power, it probably, like the shockwaves probably were like an explosion.
Well, especially as he's super strong. He's got the long arms.
Exactly.
It's like a trebuchet.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't feel that's inconsistent.
So it's apparently an open secret among soldiers who served in Kandahar in 2002, and several veterans who served in the regions have said that from that point on, they're instructed to point their weapons high by aiming for the head and then a little higher. Ah. And I think really, Neil, that's about the story.
Okay. I mean, so I'm just going to quickly look up Nephilim because I'll see if there's any interesting fun facts. I thought they were some type of angel Nephilim. I remember there was a band, I think they were from like the 80s, called the Fields of the Nephilim.
Well, angels can be tall, can't they?
Oh, yeah. People in the Hebrew Bible who are large and strong, loosely translated as giants in some translation. Hybrid sons of fallen angels. Yeah, there we go.
Am I a Nephilim, Neil?
I mean, very, very fallen angel and very descended. Yeah, you're like, you know, 1/200th.
1/200th angel. That's not bad.
Like many generations.
So, like with that and Genghis Khan, those are the two things.
Yeah. Well, like Andre the Giant, he was kind of like, taught to Nephilim.
He was an angel to work with, I can tell you that much.
Well, yeah.
When me and him used to do the Mexican wrestling together.
Absolutely. I forget which episode that was from.
Me too.
That's weird. Got to go through all of them to find out.
El Bambino Gigante. That was what I was called. So I think, Neil, let's go through our scoring system.
Let's do it.
Well, wasn't as exciting as I was hoping.
It was mostly lots of accounts of the one account and then just a lot of people seeing people through viewfinders or whatever. And I wonder whether or not there's something that maybe they weren't as accurate in their estimations because it was from miles away. Who knows? Who knows? Okay.
There we go, though. Hey, look, at the end of the day, we don't know until we read it.
Exactly.
And we don't read it until we're doing it to put out. So,
I mean, who would know that, a giant man of Kandahar would be, have so little substance to it. But
hey, man.
Lots of sightings, though, to be fair.
Yeah, it's worth a look.
Do you know what? Worth investigating.
So, Neil, spookiness. What do you reckon? You shitting yourself?
Oh, I'm absolutely terrified. So I'm not seeing anything about Nephilim being... I mean, fallen angels is one thing, I suppose. But no, I mean, most of them just seem like chill lads just going about their business.
Listen to Two-Step Garage.
Yeah, listen to a bit of Two-Step, Hey, they want to have a bit of a rave in the desert. Well, who are they harming? Why's the man always got to get down on this? Maybe don't bring guns into their environment. Well, I mean, obviously you've got that attack from the one. So, yeah, 13-foot guy coming out and rearing at you who's like semi-bulletproof. That'd be reasonably kind of terrifying. But most of them just seem to be going on about their business, as I say. So, yeah, it's not... I think it'd be scary if you see one in real life. But there's... And I'm kind of like thinking as well, how many of these can sort of possibly be flying around? Again, it's a bit like the cryptids, isn't it? They seem to be more sinned against than sinning for me. So I don't think they're that scary. I'm going to give them a 4.
4. Yeah, I think the thing is, they're not quite big enough to be really scary.
Mm.
I mean, they are.
If you look giant, you think like, I don't know, like 60 foot or something.
Like that. They are very big, but they're kind of just like twice my height.
The size of a human, yeah.
So it's kind of like not. I mean, it depends. I guess it all depends on their attitude, really. And they actually seem to be generally quite chilled out, apart from that one who might have just been a bad egg.
Yeah.
Every society has them. The rest of them just seem all right, like warming up. I don't really understand what's going on with the blanket one. Like whether it was warming up with humans. Yeah, I mean, it could just, they could well be like friendly with humans mainly, unless they kind of run in with guns. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that one had PTSD who went a bit crazy. I don't know, but yeah, they seem all right. Again, yeah. I mean, it would be fucking odd to see one of them, and you wouldn't want to bump into one in the desert, I guess, at night if you weren't expecting it. So I'm going to give it a 3 now. So believability. Well, it's not. it's not as unbelievable as a lot of stuff that there's like just some quite big humans or humanoids. Do you know what I mean? Like compared to a lot of the stuff we look at, it's not actually completely outrageous. I don't know. I mean, I've given quite high believability scores to some complete nut stuff. So it's not supernatural or anything. It's just like a massive human. So, and there were all kinds of different branches of the hominids, weren't there? So I'm going to give it a 8 for believability, Neil.
Wow, that's high.
It is high.
I'm not going to go that. So for me, I mean, it's not necessarily whether or not we believe it; it's whether people find it believable in and of themselves. I feel like there's quite a lot of kind of like tongue-in-cheek stuff for a lot of these sources.
Well, that was to be fair. The first article was military times, and they were doing it as a tongue-in-cheek thing.
Yeah, but I can imagine Scotty's having a laugh with some of this stuff, or just trying to sort of scare each other. I mean, I don't know. It's
I'm not sure this would scare them.
Well, all right, no, you know what I mean. But I mean, the only thing that sort of like gives it a bit more credence for me is like the accounts are quite mundane. Like they don't, like, nothing really happens. So I mean, that's the thing that gives it. I mean, 13-foot people roaming around and wouldn't have ever bumped into them seems unlikely. But I suppose if it was going to be anywhere, somewhere very remote, like in the deserts of Afghanistan or whatever, or the mountains, then I suppose there's lots of little hidey places. Yeah, not sure. Personally don't believe it's true. But in terms of people believing it, I can't get a real register on how much they sort of believed it themselves, or how much of it is kind of like a bit taking the mick. But it doesn't feel like necessarily it's in. Yeah, it's not. I'll give it a 4.
4. Oh. So narrative premise, Neil.
Yeah, I think there's not a lot here, is there? But I think that's the thing is they don't. Yeah, they don't. I just think the idea of kind of like a lost sort of race of you taking the fallen angels aspect, and then it's sort of like a lost race of fallen, and they're just maybe they're dying out or something like that. I think you could do a decent Netflix series out of this. I think the foundations are quite interesting. There's not a lot of meat on the bones, but then I think it's just intriguing enough a concept that you could get something out of it, and they've just stumbled across them thanks to the war or whatever. We're all sort of interjecting. Maybe that the nomadic people and stuff who live in the area just kind of turn a blind eye and let them get on with it. Yeah, I think you could turn it. There's not lots on here, so I'm not going to give it that high score. So it's going to be a 6 on this for me.
6. So I'm kind of pretty much ignoring the fallen angel aspect of it, and I'm kind of thinking that it's kind of a like Neanderthals or whatever. Like it's another hominid that very few. So there's just a very small amount of them that survive in a very kind of remote place where people don't really go much, and it's easy, it's easy enough for them to hide. I think it's all right because most of this kind of stuff is kind of ape creatures like Bigfoots and that kind of and abominable snowmen. I think it's interesting, like that. The idea is that there are these kind of large, pretty much humans, very similar to us, but bigger. Very tough, 6 fingers, 2 sets of teeth.
Yeah. And nearly bulletproof.
But that, to be fair, if it's a small society, then they're going to be inbreeding. So stuff like that will happen. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's interesting because you don't get a lot of tales of giants these days. But also, you could do something with it, like trying to find them, and you find these kind of big sort of humanoids and stuff. Yeah, exactly. What we know they like 2-step. What else do they like? So I'm going to give it 7 Neil.
Nice.
So Reach. So there's loads of articles on this. There's not been. I don't know that there's been much in the way of TV or anything. I think it's pretty much a internet-based thing as it stands.
No holiday episode of Supernatural where they went to Afghanistan.
No, not that I'm aware of. I don't know. I mean, it's solely an internet thing. There doesn't seem to be any TV or anything about it, but it's quite big on the internet. So I don't know. I'm going to give it a 4 for Reach, Neil. How about you?
Yeah, probably slightly lower. So I think it's probably one of those things that come out on the internet. It feels like it's a few sort of tall tales from the sort of army that were in Afghanistan. Now, if this was something, I mean, all right, it ties in with the Nephilim slightly there, although that feels like a bit of a retcon. Now, if this was something where, it was a local Afghani legend or something and they were building on that would give it a bit more staying power for me. I just feel like this is one that might end up kind of going away because very much at a point in time. Do you know what I mean? Where there was
Yeah.
kind of, people occupying Afghanistan or whatever, however you want to put it. I don't know how long it'll kind of like last. And it has been around for that long, quite recent, probably not got, on the internet, anything can sort of reach a lot of people, but it's not necessarily got loads of, so yeah, going to be a 3 for me.
Well, that gives us an overall score of 39. So not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had a look at it because it intrigues me.
It was an intriguing concept, absolutely.
It's an intriguing concept. It didn't manage to necessarily fulfill my wishes for what it was going to be. Considering there's so many articles about it, I thought there'd be a bit more to it, but it just seems to be kind of,
so many things, one bad apple just makes the whole thing sound
well, it's
worse,
a one-off incident, but then there's also been there's other people who claim to have had sightings. So, there's something there to an extent.
It's an interesting little phenomena, but
it is.
Not much to make knowledge out of. Yeah,
if you were in Afghanistan and you saw Kandahar giant, then please let us know at www.herb.legends.
Maybe just walking down Port Slade or something.
At gmail.com. Just let us know, or if there's anything you want us to have a look at, or you've got any comments, then fine. Do your worst. I'm not bothered. You bothered, Neil?
No, do what you like. I don't care. It's a free world.
Exactly.
Yeah, get on with it.
Take more than that to hurt us.
Do it.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
But that's it for this week. We'll be back.
Seriously aggressive ending this.
Next Thursday at the same time. We release at 7 a.m. UK time. So I think
might not. So we go.
I think that's early in the morning for you guys in America. So you get it because of the time difference. You get it earlier than people do here.
Don't think about it. Yeah, it's not worth. It's to do with vortexes and ley lines and just a lot of complicated mathematics that you wouldn't want to get into.
We send the episodes by Concorde over to.
You then get through a portal into hell, and then Boston, and and then that wreaks havoc with the whole chronology. But don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it too much. Yeah. All right, well, have a good week, everyone, and we'll be back with some more nonsense this time next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Antenna. Server. USB. Wi-Fi. Chip and pin. Mini